Hey guys, my name is Jazmine Garcia. I am a social media influencer where I focus on all things lifestyle. And, being on this podcast today has been super eye-opening. I feel that I finally got to connect with someone that I've been wanting to connect with for years on end. And I really got to open up about some personal things, not only in my life, but also in his life, and really take some time to reflect on our accomplishments and really pay attention to what we can currently do to move forward and be the best version of ourselves. You're listening to EVERFORWARD Radio.
Yeah, that's good there. We'll get official in a second, Nuncio. We're live on Jazmine's Instagram. Thanks for coming over, by the way.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll do a live stream on here for like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and feel free at the 10 to 15 minute to just go over and cut my...
He'll just like karate chop it, kill it.
Just break my phone, shatter it to pieces.
I've been meaning to file a new insurance claim for a while.
Perfect, so...
I'm going to finish my coffee.
That's a good idea.
Should I get my ass coffee?
The coffee.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be official now, right? What am I saying? I got okay. It was great. You think you bring somebody on to help you like with videography and stuff, and he's like, no, like this is going to be better. And you understand more than I do. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the video. Welcome to the podcast. However you're watching this or listening to this, welcome. Thank you. My name is Chewning. I'm the host of EVERFORWARD Radio. Today, we have an incredible guest lined up for you. An internet friend of mine for quite a few years, and I'll just let her introduce herself. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, guys. I am Jazmine Garcia. As Chase said, we have known of each other for several years now, ever since I've been basically involved in social media.
Yeah.
And he's been trying to get me on this podcast for like 17 years, ever since I came out of the womb.
Let this be a lesson that if you just stay badgering people long enough, like your hopes and dreams will come true.
It was one of those things where every time I was like, oh, am I allowed to cuss?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Really yeah.
Every time I was like, fuck, fuck. I keep like letting this go on. And so then he DM'd me and I was like, hey, let's just book this 2 months in advance.
Yeah.
That way I have no reason to be busy. It's just like, no, we're booking this and I have nothing else going on.
And it all happened for a reason, because as awesome as it would have been, I think when I first started this back in 2017, it would have been great to have you on. I probably would have even hit you up again, but here we are now in person, which I've been loving.
Yeah.
Ever since we moved here. Yeah, it's like August now. It's technically almost a year. It's crazy. I've just been getting so many amazing guests in person.
Yeah, right.
Which makes great extra content. Here we are I see you watching me on the video. And it's just cool vibes.
It's just way different to actually meet with somebody in person too, as opposed to doing something, via Skype or on the phone or something. It's just, this is more personal. So,
and plus I don't have to worry about my internet going, crapping out.
Yeah, that's always been one of the things that I've worried about too. When people have been like, hey, do you want to, I'm like, what is the quality going to sound like? It's not going to convert to the same thing as having these headphones.
And I'll friendly, politely call you out.
Oh, no.
We're going to bring your show to life soon.
Oh,
Jazmine's been talking about her own podcast for a couple years.
For so long. I've been talking about starting a podcast since I lived in downtown. And that was 2016, 2017. Yeah. And my biggest thing, we were actually just kind of talking about this, is that I feel that none of my friends actually want to pull through with it, or they'll show interest and they're like, I don't have the time commitment, or I was going to start one with my best friend's Chachi, but she's pregnant now, so it's like mom role kind of takes over.
Well, that's important.
It seems a little more important.
Sounds like your friends have their priorities out of the line. I don't know.
Literally, I'm like, what are you doing with your life? You're going to get pregnant instead of starting a podcast with me? Sounds good.
You broke contract. We didn't sign a contract. In my head, we did.
In my head, there was a contract, and you completely broke it. So yeah, I want to start it. And I definitely need your help, because I had no idea that you had a production company.
Yeah. So EVERFORWARD Radio is my baby. It's what I do full time.
Yeah.
And then we have, do some quick math. Yeah. 7 other shows that we either completely like launch for people and or produce on a regular basis, or there are 2 shows I just do consulting for, kind of like help on the back end optimization, line up guests, kind of things.
Insane.
If you do something long enough, people think for some reason you're good at it.
Oh, you must be kind of good at this. You've been doing it for like what, a year? You're like, yeah. Well, that's good for you guys to know in stream. If you guys are wanting to start a podcast, this guy knows all about it, so he can help you guys out.
I'll be your Doug. I'll be your dog. Absolutely. But I think that's just a great example. Let's just start right into the show. Jazmine Garcia, welcome to the podcast. This day and age, it is very possible if you have a passion for something, and if you've been technically doing it on your own or for another company long enough, like people view you as maybe expert is a little bit of a stretch, but hey, you have experience and people come to you.
Yeah.
What would you say is your area of expertise and what do people come to you for?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel this is actually something I think about on a regular basis because I'm 25 now, and I actually...
Well, happy belated birthday, brother. It was like last week, right?
Yeah. A week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
It was a lot of fun, but turning 25 has been very pivotal for me because I'm starting to look and think, okay, you're 25. What are you an expert at? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know that I have anything that I'm an expert at.
It's just in Jazmine's live midlife crisis, quarter life crisis.
I am having a legitimate... I mean, I have things... There are so many different things that I love and I'm passionate about and I'm good at. Yeah. I feel that majority of people still to this day come to me a lot for fitness and like self-esteem and body confidence, which I don't know if that's considered an expertise because I don't even really know everything. It's just something that I think people have come to me for. But hey, I know a lot about rescuing dogs.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, I know.
Don't tell my wife; she'll come home with a bunch more.
I know a lot about good food.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I could pick your brain on that.
We need to all go out and get some food.
Last night, I ate probably at my favorite restaurant so far in LA.
What's it called?
Bestia.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's this Italian, like tapas, sort of kind of tapas, like small plates, shared style. Yeah. It's over in the Arts District, which I love. We've gone to a couple of restaurants over there.
Oh,
the Arts District's super cool.
It's far, though.
It is, especially for you. Yeah. And it's one of those spots that it's like, it's a little sketch right now, but like a little cool.
Give it like 6 years and it'll actually be really nice.
If I bought a place here now, I could maybe...
It'll be worth $1.6 million in another few years.
And I might not get shot walking out of my place.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, it's up and coming and that restaurant was amazing.
That sounds so good.
And I would love to get some restaurant recommendations.
I've totally got you covered when it comes to that. So going back to the, expertise thing, honestly.
Let's go. Yeah,
I've got no idea. I honestly have no idea what I'm considered an expertise at these days because...
Well, let's start with...
Has a meltdown.
Damn it, Chase, why did you ask me this question? I thought it was going to be casual. Okay, one of the ways that I think helped me become an expert in my field, and at this point, I hate the word expert, actually, so screw that. When people come to you for advice on things, to me, it's usually an area that you're extremely passionate about. And it doesn't... I've talked about this all the time. Sorry to my audience if this is a broken record. But the things that are ordinary for you... to a lot of other people are extraordinary. And it's something that like, hey, you do really well, or I've been watching your journey for a month, a year, and like, I want to do something similar. So with that in mind, how would you kind of answer the question? That
actually is such a good way of phrasing it. And it makes way more sense to me now. So obviously YouTube, I've been doing YouTube for honestly longer than the amount of time that I've been doing it full time. I've had a YouTube since I was maybe 14 or 15 years old. And I think that, for me, I don't feel like an expert at all because I'm going to look at, way bigger YouTubers and be like, they're the ones who have it figured out. But
I checked this morning and you're at 438,000 subscribers, which is pretty solid. Congrats on the hard work.
Did his research.
I did one research.
He did one.
I did one research.
He's like, yes. So no,
Statistic.
Got it down. Yeah. So I have grown that. And I'm really proud of that. And I think that is something where whenever anyone needs advice when it comes to coming up with, a thumbnail, content titles, or what type of video to do, how it should be filmed, how to be confident in front of the camera. Those are actually things that I really do feel I've nailed down. And I always say, Lord forbid this ever happens, knock on wood. Did you just knock on your head?
Knock on wood.
If YouTube ever fell apart and I wasn't able to do it full time, I would go into the management side of things
Really?
Yeah. Cause I really love that. I love talking with brands. I love helping companies figure out how to best optimize their Instagram, all of those things. So
kind of like connect the dots.
Exactly. Yeah. And honestly, there's a huge market for that. There are so many companies that do not know how to market themselves. Yeah. And now it's like social media really is the thing.
It's the currency.
Yeah. So if you don't know how to market yourself on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, then it's like you should be slightly alarmed just because it's so important.
Let's go there. Actually, when we first moved here, that's one of the things I did. One of the things when I move anywhere, I like to just walk around, kind of get lost and just familiarize myself with the city. And I would see like cool restaurants and cafes and even some rehab centers and boutique gyms. Like, oh, this place looks cool.
Yeah.
Let me learn more about them. What do? I go to my phone. Let me look up their Instagram. they either A, don't have one, B, their last post was like 3 years ago, or C, all the above kind of thing.
Or the content is just terrible.
Yeah, it's like, their fingers in front of the lens.
Yeah,
and they're like,
or it's like really smudgy, poor camera quality.
Yeah.
Like, are they reposting stuff from their followers, which is always a really good thing. But to a certain point, when you're relying on that for the content on your page, you should probably be a little bit concerned. But yeah, that's totally a huge thing. And I think that, for me, whenever I find out about a place, it's most likely through Instagram because my friends have tagged it or it's showing up on my Explore page and it's a really good picture of like ice cream or some sort of delicacy.
Sounds like we follow a lot of the similar Instagram accounts. Do you know about the Baked Bear? The ice cream
cookie? Of course. What do you mean? I learned about the Baked Bear when I lived in San Diego 3 years ago. And then I found out there was one out here and I lost my mind because I am literally obsessed.
Go to my Uber Eats. It's my #1 most delivered.
Wait a minute. You're delivering ice cream sandwich cookies?
It works well. There's one like barely 3 miles away on the USC campus. They get here pretty quickly.
Smart. Yeah. That's where the Chick-fil-A is too, huh?
Yeah, there is one over there. And Trader Joe's.
Honestly, I missed that area. It was really nice over there. Yeah, Baked Bear is like what do you get? What's your go-to?
Okay, so in delivery, you have limited options.
Oh,
okay?
what?
Yeah, you only have 2.
What?
I know.
What do you mean you
only
only
2
have
ice
2
cream cookies, which I didn't know there were more. When I walked into a store.
Oh, you're probably overwhelmed.
I was like, oh my God.
What have I been doing?
I would shout out Joe Sheehy from Cured. If you're watching this, him and I were in Austin. And the first time I ever went to an in-person one, he literally probably got annoyed with me because he had already checked out and I was just like a million cookies, a million ice creams. I didn't even know you could get brownie sandwiches.
Oh yeah, they've got everything.
So when I go into the store, I like to get 1 funfetti cookie, 1 cookies and cream cookie, and mint chocolate chip ice cream. When I get it delivered,
I applaud that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I do.
And when I get it delivered, it's only there's a mint chocolate chip ice cream option, and then it's oh no! Actually, they took that away. It used to be that in a cookies and cream. Now it's either cookie dough ice cream and a chocolate chip cookie, or what I get is the funfetti cookie and cookies and cream ice cream.
Wait, that's so.
Which isn't bad. It's still good.
I just don't get why the options would be limited.
Yeah,
being that there are so like it doesn't make a difference.
You can't customize it. You can't modify anything.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to call them.
Yeah.
See, I'm like, do you?
I'm
like, do you want your business to thrive? Because this current layout isn't working.
Do you want 438,000 subscribers to know why your company sucks?
Why I hate Baked Bear. Wait, hold on. I love you guys, Baked Bear. I love you guys, please.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor the show, email Chase at EVERFORWARD Radio. We'll be happy to have you.
If you want to sponsor my YouTube channel, email me, please.
But it wasn't always that way. And I remember when I first came across your channel, you were one of the first YouTube people I began to watch. Once I realized, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Once I realized Max was like, all right, like you actually are doing this kind of thing. Like there's actually more to it.
Yeah.
And I realized other people were doing it. Yeah, I remember, I think the first video I watched of yours was a going away video. I think you just left your job.
Oh,
and your coworkers kind of threw you a little going away.
Yeah.
It looked like it was in a backyard. You were on like a picnic table kind of thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And
yes.
I watched that and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That must be her YouTube video.
Yeah, let me see what other people are doing. Yeah, exactly. So from there, what's life been like?
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. It's been very transformative. And I think that I love when I get asked this question because I really have forgotten, and it gives me a moment to reflect and really acknowledge the progress and success that I've had in my life. So yeah, I mean, like a little bit of backstory on that. I was working at a salon, like 35, 40 hours a week, pretty typical full-time job. I was commuting, but I was making pennies. I mean, I was making like maybe $800 on a good month.
Wow.
And thankfully I was in a position where I was living with my family, so I didn't really have to worry about rent or I just had to pay my own bills. But I remember when I decided to make the leap to quit my job, it was scary because I had talked to, I don't know if did you know Brian Turner and like Obese to Beast, Humorous Fitness, all those guys? Yeah. So I was really good friends with them. And I just remember being like, I want to quit my job. I don't want to do this anymore. And they're like, we say, fuck it.
Yeah,
just
he's down in San Diego, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they were like, you should just go for it. Be prepared. realize that you're taking a big risk, but just enjoy it. And that's one of the things of being an entrepreneur, which I don't really like using the word entrepreneur for myself because I feel that I'm not even doing enough to consider myself as an entrepreneur. But with what I do, it is different. It's still considered that. And
entrepreneur-ish.
Yeah. I'm like with an ISH at the end. Yeah.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I look at people like Mark Cuban and I'm like, that's an entrepreneur. I'm not really doing
when
anything.
You have
like
bought
that.
a basketball team, you're a successful
and
entrepreneur.
that doesn't even flinch your like wallet or pocket. You're just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, like I had it laying around. You know,
Mark,
like,
what happened? I got bored on Monday. I bought an NBA team.
Just went for it. You know, worst comes to worst, it goes to hell.
Sports.
So I quit my job and it was, it's been crazy ever since. I mean, I have, my business is a corporation now. I've gotten to work with so many amazing brands. I had joined a talent agency where I was going on a bunch of really massive auditions that I never thought I would have the opportunity to be in front of these casting directors and directors. And now I feel, I just kind of have been milking all of that and just enjoying all of the success and the growth and, the finances that have come with it. I bought a condo, something I never thought I'd be able to do. And so now at that pivotal age of 25 again, now
just in time for my quarter life crisis.
Just in time.
I had the financial stability to freak out for a month.
Literally, no. If anything, now I've just been like, what am I going to do to take myself and my business to the next level?
Okay.
Because I really, like I said, I feel like I just milked my YouTube channel for the longest time because it was bringing me extreme comfort. But I'm just like, I don't want to be comfortable. I want to do something that feels really risky and go to the next level. So I've been watching a lot of Shark Tank. I'm going to be the next, working with Mr. Wonderful.
I love Shark Tank.
I love that show. And I swear to you, it has given me business ideas.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm just saying, watch out because I'm going to be a multimillionaire by next year.
And speaking of, I mean, I think we're talking earlier about how businesses are maybe missing the mark on recognizing the power and potential that social media has.
Yeah.
They recognize it because one of the new sharks is Amanda Kearney. Sorry, I always mess up her last name.
Wait, Amanda Cerny?
Amanda Cerny, yeah.
What?
Yeah, she posted up a picture the other day.
The influencer.
Yeah, with crap, I forgot his name. The guy who helped launch Fubu.
Draymond Johnson.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's him. Yeah, she posted up a picture. She's like, Shark Tank, watch out. Like they're like, I'm pretty sure she's one of the new sharks.
Whoa.
Yeah. So now a social media influencer
that is
now
insane.
On a board, on a panel, multi millionaires being like, yes, that's a good business.
And you know what? I shouldn't even be so surprised because that girl is so successful. And it does not surprise me that she's a multimillionaire who can now turn around and make investments. That's the dream. Yeah. That is literally the dream. That's insane. That's crazy. I did not know that at all.
All from Vine. Yeah.
But see, she's one of the people, because think about all of the people that got onto Vine and were so insanely successful. Vine died. Where did they go? So many of them.
They had already started other things.
Some of them did, some of them didn't though. Some of them just kind of fell away with it. Yeah. But someone like Amanda Cerny or like King Botch or whatever, they took it to the next level and they were like, we realize that this could be temporary. So let's make sure that we build, elsewhere, which is just so smart and so important.
It's hard to have that foresight. When you're talking about, I know, not literally milking, but milking what you've done.
I say that all. I'm like, maybe that sounds creepy or burby.
It might sound harsh, but I mean, being able to enjoy your hard work. And I think a lot of people don't realize just holding a camera is just a part of what you see. Or being in front of the camera, there's a lot of work. It's a full-time gig if you really want to go in on it.
One of the most frustrating comments, and thankfully I really don't get it anymore, but for the longest time, I would get comments of like, this girl is always talking about how she's so busy and all this and all that. And, all she has to do is hit record. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if only that's actually how easy it was just hitting a record button and then turning it off and going back to life. I still work 40 hours a week.
That's
filming,
it?
Editing. Exactly. Well, that's my point is it's like at the minimum, that is the amount that I'm working. And on top of that, what's almost difficult about being a social media person is that you don't clock in and clock out. it's like or with any entrepreneur, you don't clock in or clock out. You work until you want to stop working. So it's really hard to have a work-life balance because, my friends, like for the longest time, I was actually like having a lot of issues with my friends because they were just saying, you don't stop. You're constantly uploading. You're constantly editing. Why don't you just come out for drinks with us one night? And I'm like, I've got goals. I've got things I'm trying to accomplish. But that's a thing that happens just so that you guys realize this is a real job and this does involve a lot of our time and it's very time consuming. And while I am milking it, I am also, sweating a lot.
It's a lot. Sorry about that.
I meant sweating.
It's my lame joke. It's my thing.
I was like, no, I meant with work.
Yeah, I'm not trying to raise my arms because I'm pretty sure I got pit sweats.
That's why I wore those.
I was going to wear a crop top, sleeveless as well.
Yeah, you should have.
I didn't want to one-up you.
For next time. Oh my God, if you came down. I would have loved that. You're like, all right, hey guys, let's start the podcast. I'm like, is there...
Moves to LA once, wears sleeveless crop tops.
I love it. You could take that. I notice it's Lulu.
Yeah.
Take it to Lulu, cut it into a crop top and you'll be good.
But,
no, it's a nice top, honestly. I didn't know Lulu made button-ups like that.
Yeah, fun fact, actually, speaking of jobs and stuff, so before I was doing this full-time and, we have our online coaching business as well, I did all that. I worked in health and wellness and fitness.
Yeah.
And so my job, I got a little promotion and I was like, all right, how can I have to be the fitness guy. I got to look like a fitness guy, but I want to be like the nice looking fitness guy.
Right.
So I found Lulu polos.
I was wondering where this is going to go.
So instead of like
I found Lulu polos.
Instead of a workout shirt, I just put on a fucking
No, that's
Lulu
so
polo.
smart.
Yeah.
I like it.
Immediately leveled up. I'm like, oh wow, he's got his life together. He's wearing a polo.
This guy's got his shit together. Why do you say that? Dude, look at his polo, man.
Dude,
that shit screams having life together.
Actually, this screams it needs a replacement. This is 4 years old.
Is it?
Yeah. Actually, shout out Lulu. It's still holding up pretty well. I mean,
that is that doesn't look 4 years old.
Yeah, and I wore these all the time. I have like 5 colors, and I would just rotate through it.
I am very impressed. Very impressed.
Lulu, sponsor me.
And me.
And all of us, I'll cut you a deal.
Please, I really love you guys.
Do you think you could ever go back to a regular job?
No, absolutely not. And I think about that a lot as well. I mean, look, if I had to, yes, I'm not going to sit here and be like trying to continue to milk something that clearly isn't working anymore.
Just increase your Patreon account.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, the monthly payment has gone up to $1,000 a month to support me.
It was 7, now it's 700.
Yeah, it's just a couple zeros, making it easy. No decimal though. It's just 700. So I do think about that a lot, and I really hope that I don't have to, only because I really have gotten used to being my own boss. I don't know what I would do if somebody was like, you need to be in by 10 o'clock, or never mind, so-and-so left his shift, you need to come in at 8. I'd be like, what? No, no, you don't understand. I've got my own thing, I've got my own things running. And I don't, for people that do have their own jobs, hey, more power to you. But once you've gotten into being your own boss and having your own business and having your own company, the thought of ever being below that just doesn't feel like the greatest thing ever. Mm-hmm. And I know that I'm capable of doing more where I should never have to have that be my only option.
I agree. And one way I think I can expand upon that is because from this position, once you work so hard, months and years into this, what happens? You quickly develop and fully experience and know your value for what you can do, what you are doing, or what my worth is now, what my future worth is. And that can change at any really given moment. Right. Whereas that's really the main reason, among other things, but the main reason why I left my job. I loved my job. I love what I did. Yeah. I love, leading. I oversaw 7 other people. Hiring, firing, training, leading a department, and like working one-on-one patients and clients, every day. I love that part, but it was the rest of the business that just completely drained me. And because they were undervaluing me and overworking me. And now if I overwork myself, I just increase my value, because I'm doing more work, hopefully being more productive.
Right.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that exactly is that you have control over what your own time is and what your own value is. Nobody else can define that for you. And I think that that's something that is super important to think about. And I also feel that like when I am working harder and when I am doing more, my value also goes up because you are literally putting in more work and you set the price for yourself. So
I'll play devil's advocate there. Do you think, is there a point of kind of diminishing return? Have you ever experienced, I'm working my ass off, I'm work. Maybe the end result doesn't change or the value doesn't change?
You know, a few months ago would not have been able to answer this question, but my brother my brother is an actual legit just entrepreneur, started from absolutely nothing and has, turned his business into something incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for bro.
he's the greatest person that I know. And he's been so inspiring for everything that I've done with YouTube so far, or with anything that I've done in my career so far. And we were talking, and I think it was in December when I just done Vlogmas, which is just basically you upload for 25 days, right?
I did that once, never again.
It's hard.
Oh my God.
It's
I only
so
made it
hard.
I think 17 days.
So I've never been able to complete Vlogmas. And he told me, he was like, look, you are not doing the greatest that you could be doing right now. I see your YouTube. You're uploading like 6 to 7 times a month. What are you doing? And I was like, well, it's pretty hard. Like,
I'm lucky if I have 4. So you're doing good, girl.
And he was like, come on, you need to like amp up the content. Yeah. So he challenged me to upload every single day in January. Every single day, and not just anything, because I care about the content I'm putting on my channel. I'm not just going to put up rubbish because I have to hit a goal.
Right.
So it was like content that involved, going out. Like I tried CrossFit for a week, or I like all these.
I saw that. I remember that. Yeah.
So I did that challenge. I think I did it again in February, March, and he's just helped me set these goals of like 20 videos a month, etc. And so I was super nervous because I remember telling him, I'm like, YouTube doesn't favor people that upload a bunch of content, and people are going to, feel like it's too much like saturation, too much content flowing at them. And he's like, I don't care. I don't want to hear about that. I want to just see that you can do it, because this isn't about them. Your business is going to be fine regardless.
It's not about what we're actually doing. It's about setting a task, setting a goal, and working to reach it.
And he's like, and I will be so surprised if you tell me that you don't get more growth, more views, more ad revenue. Like, I'm just so intrigued to see how this goes. And when I did that, my ad revenue had quadrupled for that month. And literally I had earned the most in January that I had ever earned in my whole time.
So you mean to tell me you worked harder and you made more money?
Isn't that crazy?
And you grew on social media. Wow.
It's the most baffling thing.
I gotta write this down.
Yeah, take notes. Take notes. So, and I honestly felt that having that push to get those videos up, because there was such a sense of pressure of making sure each video was good, it made me think harder about the videos that I put up. So like the trying the CrossFit video, that one has 500,000 views. And like when I wasn't trying like that, my videos never get 500,000 views, maybe like 50,000 views, So that was really impressive for me, and it brought a lot of growth. There were a few other videos that performed really well too. And it also allowed me to go out of my comfort zone because, I was somebody that was very involved in health and fitness, and I kind of went through this period of, switching over my content to more lifestyle. And there was some backlash for that. I was losing subscribers while gaining subscribers and losing. And it was this constant like stagnancy almost, because I was losing,
one
but
step
I was getting
forward, 2 steps back.
Exactly.
Kind of
And this year I felt like I was really able to explore and do content videos that I wanted without fear of backlash, without the fear of, the video not doing well. I was just like, I don't care. I'm just going to see. And now everybody loves it. They're just like, yeah, we just love going to your channel. We don't know what's going to be next. I'm
surprise.
Like, surprise. You don't know what you're going to get. But in more ways than one, I feel that it was the most helpful thing. And so to answer your question, going back to that, I genuinely think that I'm sure at some point, 40 hours versus 50 hours might end up having the same result.
Right. Okay.
But if you are,
I actually forgot my question. I was like, good. Thanks for reminding me. I was like, shit.
Do you remember what it was?
I was enthralled in your story. Like, you're a great story. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I try. See, I'm really bad at going back to questions. And recently I've been really trying to be aware, because I will just go on a tangent for like, we'll be here all day. And you'll be like, wait, I asked you a question. I got
64 gigs in the memory card.
Perfect. No, so I do think that like, after a certain amount of time, the amount of hard work that you are putting in is going to have stagnancy, but it's going to be like, it's going to be pennies of a difference.
Sure,
you know what I mean? So if you're already working incredibly hard and harder than you ever typically work, you're going to have, positive feedback and positive things happening to your bank account and just to your overall self.
Your self account. Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
along that process, we've been kind of talking about just like working harder, jobs. I don't need to recap. I don't know why I'm doing it, but whatever. What are some of your kind of checks and balances along the way, if you have any, of like, am I being busy versus am I being productive? And it sounds like you've made a conscious shift in creating content for maybe what you think your audience wants versus now creating what you want and then attracting that right audience. What are some of your processes along that way?
So I think that for myself, I was somebody, who was super, super concerned about making sure that I put content up for people. And it really did become a job that I was doing for other people rather than for myself. Mm-hmm. Let me know if I'm getting the question correctly, because I might be completely going off on a completely different tangent.
I remember my question this time, so I'll steer you back.
Okay, cool. So, my thing is like, basically what you're asking me is, how did I determine like what was important to me and what was important to others, and balancing that? And
like, I guess the second part of that question is, when do you know you're being busy versus being productive?
Right. Okay. So those were, okay. So, wow, that's a really good question.
Yes.
I got to really think about that. I would say, okay, so to touch on the first part, I did spend a lot of time constantly worried about what other people would want to see, and only uploading content that they would want to see. And it's crazy because in the last couple of months, specifically, people have been like, you seem so much happier in your videos. Oh my God, you're like the energy. I'm like, wow.
That was great feedback.
And it's crazy to me because I really strive hard to make sure that no one ever notices that, because I'm on there to show people a good time, to be positive, or to just be open about something. And so the fact that people actually noticed a shift of when I was happier, I'm like, oh man, I didn't even know that I was like allowing it to be shown, you know, but people caught on, because the second you're authentically happy about something, it's going to show and it's going to shine. So with that, I still do pay attention to, you know, the trends and what people are enjoying watching, because this is my business.
It's market research. You have to.
You literally have to. If I uploaded what I wanted to upload, it would be like me reacting to Riverdale episode 13 of season 3, you know, and like, that's not going to do well. So,
by the way, speaking of, May watches that, and every once in a while I'll like peek over.
It's weird now.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I have a huge crush on Cam Mendes.
Do you?
Veronica?
Yes, I love her.
She's fire.
Love her. She is so beautiful.
And in real life too. Like, I love her style and like everything she does.
That's her first role that she's ever booked.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, she went to NYU and right out of college got into an agency, and she got that role, which is crazy.
Shout out CW for making shows with really attractive, cool people.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you hook people.
Is just gorgeous.
Oh, and the guy who plays Archie,
KJ Apa.
Strong fitness, like fitness game strong.
That's my husband.
And he's hysterical. I follow him on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
He's Australian, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like a total prankster.
Yeah.
And he's hysterical.
And he naturally has black hair.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a prankster and he's just like a little shit disturber. I love that guy so much.
A little shit disturber.
I'm like, we're best friends. I'm like, yeah, I love him. Oh, KJ. I don't even know him at all. I do, but KJ, hey, like, hit me up. We're just trying to get everyone. My email is Jazmine Garcia. Sorry.
This is the most shameless plug interview I've ever had.
Ever.
Hey,
why not?
Throw it up against the wall, see if it sticks, you know?
Literally.
Yeah.
That just made me think, you just saying that. This is so random. Have you ever tried like sticking a penny to a wall and using your energy to make it stick to the wall?
Cut. I don't know what's going on here. No. So I put a penny up against a wall.
Yeah,
and try to use my like brain power.
Yeah, like you hold the penny with your finger. What? One time when I was going to therapy, therapy is important, everybody. I was seeing this therapist in San Diego. Yeah. And I noticed she had a penny sticking to her wall.
What?
And I was like, yo, did you like glue a penny to your wall? Like, she's like, oh, this is the craziest thing. I had a client who told me about this, and this penny has been sticking up there for 2 weeks. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, he literally sat and used his energy to like flow through the penny and stick it to the wall. He just sat there for like 5 minutes, uninterrupted, focused on the penny. And that penny stayed there for, I think, a month before it fell off the wall. There was nothing holding it.
Was this patient's name Harry Potter?
Yes.
He's a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry. It was Harry Potter.
Damn. All right. Well, that breaks patient-client confidentiality. And now I do have to kick you off the show. I'm just kidding.
No, but I've done it. and it
Really?
lasted for like a week.
Where did that come from that question?
Because you said throw it to a wall and see if it sticks.
Okay.
And I was like,
All right.
pennies, walls, copper.
I was like, is this part of her like productivity process? Like,
No,
I only keep a video if my penny sticks up against the wall kind of thing?
No, so going back to the productivity.
I'm glad I remember this question this time.
Seriously. See, you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? I told you I'm toxic. So when it comes to productivity, so working versus actually being productive, or sorry, being busy versus being productive.
Okay.
This is actually also something that I struggle with because it sort of goes hand in hand with it. But when I am working, especially now, right, I'm doing like 20 videos a month. So my goals for this month, to give you an idea,
that's amazing.
This is insane.
All
like
right.
when I say this out loud, my friends are like, what is wrong with you?
You're actually insane.
You're actually insane. So 20 videos on YouTube,
Wow.
6 ASMR videos, because I started an ASMR channel on the side, 6 ASMR, 16 to 20 hours on Twitch, 4 Instagram workout videos, launching merch, launching the business that Omar and I are starting together.
Wow.
And I can't remember what the other one is. I know there's another one. I can't think of it right now.
Wow.
But trying to do all of those things is so hard.
Yeah.
And what happens is that I freeze. So that's where I'm like, I'm super busy, but I'm not, because I'm just sitting in bed actually just stressed out.
I'm not busy. I'm just overwhelmed.
Exactly. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so I think that what I've had to do in order to make sure that I've become more productive is hire outside of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to do everything by myself because I don't like needing help. But then things happen where I'm like, oh my God, my dogs need to go for a walk, or oh my God, I need to buy groceries, or
I haven't eaten today.
It happens all the time.
Like, under eating is like my biggest downfall now. Like when I get caught in product, like working,
because you're so
I'm
focused.
like, shit, I've had like 400 calories.
Yeah, you're like, I don't need to eat, and then you're like, oh my God, and then you feel sick to your stomach because you haven't eaten anything.
My eyes are like sunken back in my head, and then my workouts suck, and I'm like, get it together, Chase.
Well, and so that's the thing is, on top of working, you're then also trying to make sure that you have a social life outside of it while taking care of yourself, being healthy, going out with your friends, spending time with your wife.
Yeah.
Wife?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
September 20. Shit. It's September.
I'm gonna tell.
September 26th. It'll be 3 years in September. Actually, we're coming up on our 3rd year. Yeah, thank you.
3 years.
Yeah.
That is just and that's how I know it's been a long time, because I knew you before you got married.
Yeah, that's right.
I knew you while you were with her, but that's something.
Wow, that's forever ago.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm not saying you're old, but you're fucking old, dude. You're getting up there. So
no, cut again.
Yeah,
like, this is the worst.
Yeah, please don't keep that part
She's
in.
rude. She keeps hijacking.
I don't know what I'm doing. See, I need to start a podcast because I want to ask you questions right now.
I'm down.
Wait, right.
Go for it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Okay, cool. So my question for you is, what was the I'm really treating this like it's my podcast right now.
Wow, like the
No,
body
I'm in
language
position
shifted
and
and
everything. Yeah, I'm ready. So what was the transition like for you, going from being somebody who was working under somebody else to starting your own business, and what struggles did you face with that? And I'm really asking this for myself because it's been so long and I couldn't even imagine what it would be like.
Right.
Because yours isn't really, I mean, it is social media, but it's not like YouTube, Instagram, Fitspo.
Right.
It's like, it's a completely different niche. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, good question. And I got a sweet remix, this background of the leaf blower.
Yeah.
I'll fix this in post-production to the best of my ability. If you're listening, I apologize. But it was, I'm sure what most people say, everybody I know, they say it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
It's inspiring. It's motivating. It's the most terrifying, but most exciting thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And what I do now is totally, it's different. It's like same, but different.
Same,
but different. So when I transitioned out, I actually doing the health coaching. And so I was like, I love that. I wanted to do that. And I found I partnered with a health technology company. We created a coaching app, an online platform. And that was my exit strategy. I was like, I already do this job that I like.
Yeah.
But the company I'm working for and the environment is kind of sucking that life out of me. So let me just do it for myself. So I transitioned out to do online coaching, health coaching. I worked with like a few people in our apartment building and stuff, one-on-one back in DC. And then I went full time with the podcast. And so I was like, all right, cool. If I can monetize the podcast, that's when I first started working with sponsors and actively recruited for that and like started getting my business and stuff going. I mean, it was amazing. And it was the springboard necessary to really figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't made that jump into what I thought I wanted to do and just took action and made something happen, I wouldn't be doing this full time. I mean, now like the podcast is my full time thing, and you know, we still have a small coaching group that I run, but I'm not doing what I left my job to do.
Yeah,
you know?
I just think that's so badass because, like, you know, I do feel in ways with social media that I kind of had. I don't want to say that I had it handed to me, but I do think that I got in at the right time. It was right place, right time for me
absolutely.
because I got in when there was no other, at least like bigger Latin female influencers who also weren't like crazy jacked or just super ripped. Like Chelsea Lives was on there and she was a super strong powerlifter. Nikki was on there. She was a super hot bikini competitor. Dana Lynn Bailey. Like those were the three that I knew as female influencers. So when I came in, I kind of just like was able to pick up right away. Whereas with something like with what you're doing, you know, you're not uploading constant videos on YouTube and the growth of those videos isn't what makes you successful.
No, not at all.
It's something completely different. So I always respect your type of path
Thank
more than somebody who does social media because it's just, it really does involve way more work, way more effort, and there is way more to lose.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I commend the hell out of you.
Thank you.
I've been wanting to ask that. That's so cool.
It's weird. Like the thing you start doing, I've realized, and I think for a lot of self-employed entrepreneur style, it's not that thing that you keep doing.
Yeah.
It's like with you recognize I need to take action. I want to go in on something. I have some traction, and it's the ability to recognize the potential and what you have going on.
For sure.
And when you start doing one thing, it shows you opportunities for another that you never would have had.
Yeah.
If I hadn't left that company to start health coaching online, you know, I wouldn't have realized the potential to go full time with the podcast and to recruit other guests and stuff like that, and to see like, wait a minute, actually, I can do this more full time if I want.
Right.
And then, like we're saying earlier, you know, once you begin to do something long enough and gain traction and have various forms of success, people then come to you. I didn't know helping other people with a podcast, whether it's just like, get this mic, you know, this is how you upload kind of stuff. I didn't even know that was a thing until someone approached me asking me questions.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah, shout out Emily Hayden, actually. She was my first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we launched her show. I produced her show. She'd been talking about it for a while. And she was just asking me so many questions. I was, of course, glad to help. She's a good friend.
Yeah.
She was like, well, how much do you charge like for you to do it? I was like, wait a minute.
Wait.
What? No one's like, that's a thing?
I could put a dollar sign in front of this? Yeah. No, because the thing is, no matter what it is that you do, like with your original opening question, what is your expertise? There is a value with that.
Oh, yeah.
And that is so, I have so many friends that are just, you know, working whatever side hustle sales associate gig. And they're, you know, I'll be like, hey, could I get your help filming a video?
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm like, I'll pay you $100 for it. And they're like, no. Like, I'm not going to take the money. I'm like, don't say that, you know, like never say no, because that is somebody who, one, is recognizing that you have a value, two, is respecting your time. And it's something that you could learn a lot during that time. And then that's how a lot of these things happen, is somebody gets asked to help film and then they're like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this now. Hey guys, I actually film videos, you know, for X amount of time, and here's my rate and all of that.
Or like, I actually love this.
Yes,
you don't know until you pick, you're like, wow, like this just ignites something in me, and I just want to keep doing it.
Yep, exactly. So it's so important that people recognize that the information and knowledge that you have to share, if it's right and if it's something that can actually help people, has a dollar value to it. And so just don't cheap yourself out, because you will regret that, and then you're going to be known as the person who, you know, has all of the Groupon coupons, which you don't want to be that person.
Hey, I use Groupon. Actually, that's a funny story.
Groupon is good.
I don't anymore. I'll never forget one time.
What happened?
Well, I was on a date. May and I were first dating.
What happened?
See, what happened was I used Groupon. And she didn't like it very much.
Wait, she found out that you used it?
She was like, what are you doing with it? I think this was back before you could just show them your phone. And I printed out
no. Wait, what did you use it on? What was it, like massages?
No,
or
it was like a really nice dinner back in Virginia. And it was like,
look at how ashamed he looks.
Shame.
You pulled out a Groupon coupon.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing though. Groupon is good.
Yeah.
It's actually like, it's a really, the business itself is really smart. But the people who upload and rely on a successful business via Groupon
Yes.
is when you should be just a little bit. He's even nodding his head. He's all, yeah, Groupon's shady.
Look, I like a deal. Thank God they switched to like that barcode thing. Like you just,
it's just, don't worry. It's
make
my
me look
reward
less
program.
like a peasant.
Yeah, it's my reward.
program.
It's my reward
What
program.
rewards program is that? My bank account.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. Honestly, the long-term benefits, incredible.
You said something just a few minutes ago. I would love to ask you, being able to really share the message that you want and deliver information that you want. What is something that maybe a message you haven't shared, piece of information you haven't conveyed to your audience? Because maybe it's like, I don't know if they'll accept it, or I don't know like what the feedback will be. Is there anything that you wish you could have delivered?
Absolutely. Well, one thing
that you would be willing to share, of course.
Yeah. So I won't get all the way into it, but I'll explain why.
Okay.
Why I wouldn't. I want to be more open about previous relationships and even more in depth about my mental health. I recently did a video where I was probably the most transparent I have ever been about my mental health. And that's something I would dive into more here. But I also, there's been things, I've been in 2 serious relationships and I learned a lot in those relationships, and I've wanted so badly to be able to expand on them more, just because, like I said, they taught me so much. And I think that I could at least offer insight to other people who have been through similar situations or didn't understand what they were feeling. And I've been so scared to talk about it because I just don't know how it will be received.
Wow.
And that's something that, and it's not even, I mean, the thing is, it's not even anything crazy. It's things that I know people experience in their relationships.
It's probably just the topic alone.
It's just, literally, it's just talking about it. But I just, it's one of those things where I've already seen, so Omar is obviously one of my ex-boyfriends, and he's one of my best friends, and the door just opened by itself. That's a little scary, but
Oh yeah, is that some of your magic penny power stuff?
That was Harry Potter coming in. Hey man, well, I'll check in with you in a bit.
So this building's supposed to be secure.
Just opens up on its own.
All right.
But
get a nice heat draft coming in.
It feels great.
Let's keep my arms down.
But I think that I've already seen what something so positive has, like, how can I say this? Having such a positive relationship publicly with him on social media, the backlash that I've experienced just for something positive, I'm like, oh, I could only imagine what you guys would do if I talked about any of the like not so positive things.
Wow,
you know what I'm saying? Because people are, people are turning whatever our friendship is into something else, and I'm just like, if people are already doing that and digging so deep into that, I don't even think that I'm ready for them to actually know more personal things about previous relationships and my mental health with something so simple as that. But like, I guess what I would comfortably talk about though more on here is mental health, because I do think it's important, and I'm really trying to break the stigma of that. So for a long time, I would only share my sad moments on social media when I was like having a panic attack, or when I was really, really depressed, or anything like that.
The more norm mental health stuff.
Yes.
Like what people think of when they think of mental health, right?
Right.
They automatically go to the negative side of things. Right?
And so I was nervous for a long time to do a positive mental health update because I knew that I was going to be feeling good. I was scared, one, that people were going to just disregard any of the things that I had ever felt before. 2, that I might spiral again and be called a hypocrite for, being positive and then going back to sad, why is this girl so emotional and so up and down? Because that's something I have dealt with before too.
What do you mean she has multiple feelings and emotions?
Like, what do you mean she's not always smiling? I don't get it. This girl sounds like dramatic to me. So
she's a robot.
Yeah. So I think that I recently opened up a lot about my issues with OCD, and that was really, really scary for me to open up about. And I remember I was like, I just want you guys to know, like, I feel great now, and I feel in ways that I've healed from this, but I don't know how you guys are going to receive this, because one of the things that I talked about is something called Karm Ocd, which is basically the fear that you are going to hurt yourself or somebody else. And it's something that,
like, physically or emotionally?
Physically. It can be emotionally too, but typically it's physically. So like a little backstory on that is, I started having these experiences or these scary thoughts when I was like a little girl. So I didn't even understand what it was, but literally it's just this feeling that for me, mine was based around losing control. So other people just feel it in their day-to-day life that they're just going to hurt somebody. But for me, it was like when I'm sleeping or if I drink too much, or it had to do with me not being consciously aware of what I was doing.
Okay.
So that was mine. And it was really, really scary. And I remember when I made my video talking about it, I was like, I have no idea how people are going to call me crazy. You know, people are not going to understand this at all. But I guess going back to how I say that I'm so nervous to talk about other things, I actually should really listen to the comments that I got where people were just like, thank you so much for sharing this because I've been dealing with this. And I was like, whoa, you have Karm Ocd too? Yeah. You know, like it's so in your mind, it's so weird and it's so bizarre and it's something you want to hide away from the world because everyone's going to judge you and they're going to call you crazy. And then you post about it or you're open about it or you seek therapy for it or whatever it is. And you'd be surprised how many more people are like, oh yeah, I've been through this and I never even knew what it was. Or, you know, I started
alone.
And I was just blown away by the amount of people who were like, thank you so much for telling me because I really didn't know what it was. And now I'm going to therapy next week. And I'm just like, oh, fuck yeah, that's amazing. That's what I want to hear. So, so I guess with that, I have been incredibly open. I don't think that there's really anything that I have hidden on social media. And I became more open in the last year or so because I did realize that the things that I shared would actually have a positive impact, not only for myself, but for other people.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Can I share something with you?
Please.
Just for you, I always find that when we share, the less desirable, right?
Yeah.
Experiences and emotions, I've always found comfort in like, you know, me too kind of thing.
Yeah.
And for me, a couple of years ago, before I really got into the whole, like, let me look internally, right? I was eating well, training well, and doing all the external things, you know, that we think we're supposed to do to get better. And all the internal stuff just became more and more and more and more. And that was at the time when I was like, I started making YouTube videos and I was about to start the podcast. And I felt like I had all this positive light and energy and spotlight on me. So like, oh, okay, I can't be afraid of anything. I can't show all the negative side. And well, what a lot of people don't know is that actually like the whole EVERFORWARD mantra and the whole reason we do what we do now is because of like the worst time in our life. Yeah. And that worst time in my life, I kept way pushed down. I didn't talk about it. I would go off and on to therapy for years. I was, you know, in and out of the therapist's office in the military and as a civilian. And it got to a point I would have like, I became unsafe behind the wheel of a car. I kept his dog tags wrapped around the rear view mirror of my car. And I would see it sometimes just completely break down. Really? My dad and I, we shared music, like the same taste in music. And anytime I would hear like a song or just really anything would remind me, or I would, you know, in a movie theater, I would see somebody die. I would have to get up and leave. I would have full-blown panic attacks. And that was like a huge reminder for me, like, Chase, you need to take care of the internal health shit too. Like mental health, like it is a part of you feeling well and looking well and doing well, but also like you got to do the internal stuff as well.
Absolutely. And it's also important to know that even when you think that you are doing okay, you're probably still not actually doing okay because, you know, we do share that similarity in the loss of a parent. And I think that I have buried so much away with my mom. It's been 6-7 years now. And it's finally, I thought for the longest time that I wasn't grieving her anymore because I wasn't thinking about her as often for the last 2 years. I wasn't like really feeling much when I would see pictures of her. It was like this weird numb feeling and it was a terribly guilty feeling
Grief
for
and
me.
loss is the most weird process.
So fucked.
It took me 10 years.
Really?
To like be okay and sit with it and like work through it.
So I'm coming up on 7 years and I feel like for the first time, I'm also finally actually grieving her. I grieved her, of course, when she first passed away, but then there was a
that
few
initial
years
trauma and that loss.
Right. It's a shock. Right. And then after that, I just buried it all deep down. And then just recently, like I've been embracing the emotions again. I've been feeling things like I have her picture on my phone and I stop for a moment every time I see it, but it's not unhealthy. And, you know, touching on like the when you're okay, you're still probably not totally okay. I've denied therapy for so long because I'm like, I feel great. Like I'm working through this. I feel okay. Like, do I cry sometimes? Do I have my breakdowns of her? Yes, of course. I mean, it's my mom, but I'm like, I'm good though. I don't need therapy. But then it comes up in it'll show itself in other forms of your life, you know? So for me, it shows itself when it comes to my confidence, when it comes to abandonment, all things that I can't control. Like I can do my best, but I need help through those things. And so I actually recently just started therapy again last weekend. After not being on it for like 2 years. Because I was like, my friends kept saying like, you should go to therapy. I'm like, but I feel great. Like I'm not like, we would just be talking about like boys, or we'd be talking about, or we'd be talking about like some article that I read that struck me the wrong way. I mean, it would be like anything. I wouldn't even be upset. And they're just like, you should go to therapy.
Really weird ways.
And so I started, and the lady was like, so what do you want to talk about today? And I was like, abandonment issues and daddy issues. And she goes, okay. I was like, all right, let's get started.
That usually comes in like month 3 to 6.
But
and I have to
sure,
pull that
let's do it. Yeah, literally. And she's like, wow. She goes, you're very aware of yourself and like your issues and stuff. I was like, yeah, you'd be surprised what a lot of self-reflection by yourself at midnight will do.
Wow. I want to be conscious of your time. I'll ask one more question kind of on this topic, and we'll begin to wrap up here. Thanks again for coming on. It's been great.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for being conscious of my time.
Of course.
See, I would have just been like, fuck, it's 1:30.
Like we said earlier, time is valuable.
Yes,
absolutely.
exactly.
Especially in LA, because half your time spent driving.
True.
Would you say that at your growth through social media and growing your expertise in it and scaling and all these things and projects and businesses that we've been talking about, has that helped you or has that hindered you think, be able to get better at reflection? Because I think once we have tens and hundreds of thousands of people saying like, wow, you suck, or wow, you look good, it's going to kind of play a role a little bit. Has that kind of like creeped into your like reflection process?
I would say it's helped and hindered. I think it's both, because when you have this outlet to do whatever you want, it helps you because you feel inspired to do basically anything that you want. And you're like, I've got this team of people backing me. I know that it'll be successful. I know that I can crush it. But it's also incredibly hindering because you are always under a microscope and everything that you do is judged, and someone will have something negative to say about it. And it has stopped me from doing a lot of things and pursuing a lot of things. I think that there's really something beautiful in going into starting your own business or reflecting more on yourself. I mean, whatever it is, business, reflecting on yourself, building your relationships with other people. There's something beautiful about no one knowing besides you and your close friends, and
that's
no one being
statement.
right? And no one being able to judge you or anything like that. I mean, this like an example would be, I have a rescue dog named Duke, and he was a very difficult dog for the first year that I had him. The dog bit me and drew blood on me several times.
Wow,
he bit my friends. He was a very just neurotic and difficult dog. And when I adopted him, I knew what I was getting myself into, but once I was living with it, I was like, oh, fuck, like, do I really want to do this? And I had publicly stated on social media that I might not keep him, that I might take him back to his rescue.
I bet that did not go well.
Oh
shit.
My God, the amount. And I didn't even say like, I'm getting rid of him. I just said, I don't know if this is something that I'm going to be a good match for. Like, I don't, because it was, I mean, this would make me cry every night because I just was like so stressed. The dog would be sitting on my lap and literally everything would be fine. Second later, he would turn around and bite me. Damn. Nothing, I couldn't even figure out what was triggering him.
He's seen some shit. He's seen some shit.
1000%. And so a lot of people were like, how could you just get this dog? And, whatever. And something that, I mean, now he's still with me and he's my baby and he's my light. He's my joy. And he is actually transformed. I'm so happy I didn't give up on him.
Awesome,
but, I remember thinking, I wish that nobody knew that I even had, like, if I didn't have a social media, no one would know. My friends would be like, we get it if you need to take him back to the rescue. And then it would be done. But when you're under the spotlight of people, oh my God, you really get torn into. And so, things like that, but in a way it helped me because I didn't give up because of him, of that. Okay. I didn't give up because of that. I didn't give up because I also had an attachment to him, but that was something that I would always think about is like, I'm going to let so many people down if I take him back. And then, so it's one of those, it's such a weird thing. And I hope that doesn't get misconstrued. To any of you guys who are listening to this, I love the hell out of Duke. He's my baby. You guys see the way I love him. But there was a period of time, and that's just the truth, where I was like, I don't know if I could do this. And the pressure of social media, the pressure of also just like, why would I sign myself up for something like this and then not even follow through? All of that played a role. But yeah, it's both. It's both. It helps and it hinders. And you don't really have a say on how it's going to reflect. It's going to be different for every person, you know?
Yeah, of course. And I think that's a great way to kind of wrap up. Like what you've done and your accomplishments, and so many people that come on the show, and just amazing people that I have been so honored to connect with and learn from. So thanks for sharing your story. A common theme is just, the process, people like Jazmine and myself and Nuncio here are people who are willing to take a step into the unknown, having somewhat of an idea of what you think it's going to look like, feel like, and just being able to commit to the process.
Yeah.
That's what it's all is.
That's the biggest part of it all, is you have to be ready to commit, because the amount of people that say, I want to do this, but I'm just scared, I don't, then wait and do it until you know that you can actually commit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what sets successful people apart from unsuccessful people, is that they just committed.
Yeah. Commit. Next thing you know, you could be Amanda Cerny on Shark Tank.
I love that. Exactly.
So Jazmine, we have one final question. It's the only one I ask everybody.
Okay.
EVERFORWARD. I've shared with you, we've known each other a little bit over the years, and you might have an idea of what that means to us, but I'm curious, what does it mean to you? How does Jazmine Garcia live a life EVERFORWARD?
I love that question. EVERFORWARD to me just means that, no matter what it is that you are doing in your life, no matter how difficult things feel like they are becoming, no matter how dark the tunnel you are in feels, there's always that opportunity to continue to move forward. Even if there's a boulder in front of you, you need to build a pickaxe, you need to break it down, and you need to just keep pushing forward, because no matter what, the path doesn't end, and you will always have so many different choices and options. And it's just important to know that you could just push through that all.
Yeah, there's a whole world on the other side of that boulder. There's a whole world once you get through that tunnel. Like we're talking about in the very beginning, bring a full circle of making the leap out into the unknown, of doing your own thing, becoming an entrepreneur, like starting, scaling a side hustle. You have no idea what is possible until you take a step in that direction. If not, you're just idling and just treading water, I think.
Exactly.
And it works for some people. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for Jazmine.
Exactly.
Awesome. So I'm just going to throw it out there now. I'm excited for your new show.
Thank you.
I cannot wait for your podcast to come out. I'm going to help you in any way possible.
Thank you.
It's been great to finally meet you in person. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go out to dinner sometime. I'd love to kind of add a new thing to my list.
We definitely need to make that happen.
Awesome.
All right,
everybody. Thank you so much. That's a wrap. I'm still getting used to this whole camera thing during a podcast. But Jazmine Garcia has been an incredible guest. I hope you've connected with her message. I know I have. We'll have all of her information listed down in the show notes. What do they call it on YouTube again?
That's it.
The summary?
Oh, description box.
Yeah. YouTube, Instagram, definitely check her out. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode of EVERFORWARD Radio. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. As